Hi everyone, Chillax here, and welcome back to another Anchor Panic video. So I have a special treat for you today because we're basically going to delve into the future. Yes, we're going to time travel today, guys. And we're basically going to go over every single skin and banner of any operators or skins that have been released in the CN version that have not been released in the global version yet. And I think this is important because we know that there's certain elements, notably nature, ice, fighting, etc., that don't have the full suite of operators that can fill every role in the game, notably healers and stun operators. And so I think this will be a good way to kind of plan ahead, even if you don't know exactly what these heroes do. But I can kind of give you an idea of their relative strength compared to the operators currently available in global, and then you can kind of plan ahead and make your own informed decision as to which operators to skip, knowing that okay, like there's this fire striker that's going to be meta as an example. Maybe I should hold off on building Merlot or this operator that's currently in global. So without further ado, let's begin. So as you can see before you, we have the Ling skin, which was released back in October 31st of 2023. Just kind of a side note here, the CN server of Anchor Panic was released back in, I believe, September of 2023, but they started doing promotions and everything, I think, as early as March or April of that same year. So just to kind of put things in perspective here, global server will, I think this week or early next week, will have been around for 3 months. But in the CN side, they've had this game for almost 2.5 years now. So yes. Anyway, so this is the Ling skin. I think it's pretty nice. If you guys recall, during the first 2 weeks of global release, we actually had the Ling skin in the skin section of the Ling profile, but it wasn't available at the time. So and they took it down after the first update, and people got concerned. But I do anticipate that we will get the skin in the future. We have a different skin right now for Ling, which is like a Halloween skin, which is also pretty good. But yeah, Ling does have a second skin for those of you who are curious. And then moving on to the next hero. So this morning on the Anchor Panic global server Discord, we did have an official announcement that Elsida, which is the name of this hero on the global side, will be released on December 11th, on Thursday morning. And she is a lightning defender, and I actually, on my phone, I did pull up some information that I think Kwa posted this. Let me jump over to, yeah. So Kwa, shout out to you, my man. I'm aware that he's playing the CN server or the JP server. I might get a VPN and actually start playing the JPN side. That way I can get a preview and actually show in-game the kit of any future characters that come out. But for now, we'll stick with this summary. So someone had asked Kwa what her kit is like, and basically he says, yeah, her kit is good if you know how to use her. TLDR, she negates 100% damage of every fourth attack via a parry. So basically once per turn she can basically neutralize an attack, but it's the fourth attack. But this is significant, you know why? Because typically DPSs don't hit you until the fourth time. So I think that this is kind of, it's nice that it's a fourth attack. On parry, she heals herself for 8% max HP and counterattacks the unit that hits her for 8% of her max HP as damage. A3 turns her counter into an AoE. So I do like this a lot. She will essentially be the first hero who counters. Now, Tia, in a way, kind of counters too. She's our quantum striker in global. She's the one who creates the dark void, and every time the enemy acts, you have a percentage chance to hit the weakest enemy. These parries are going to be quite interesting. Now, what I'm curious about is if these parries occur if she is hit or occurs if any ally is hit. Because if it's her needing to be hit and every fourth attack that she gets hit, then this is strictly worse because as you know, tanks in this game don't really aggro, which makes them not really as effective in their role as in other games. Because in other games, the tank blocks all incoming attacks, right? Like the enemy has to get through the front in order to, uh, hit the squishier units in the back, unless they use like a ranged unit. But here, it seems like if the only way a tank will get hit is if the enemy specifically targets their position, which I don't like, but it is what it is. At A0, she has a 60% chance to parry the first attack every round. Okay, so this actually implies to me that she does parry on behalf of everyone. So if she does aggro, you know, regardless of positioning, I think that makes her very valuable as a tank. And then she also gives the whole team 6% damage reduction, which is not a whole lot. There, I believe, are heroes, operators in global right now who provide even more damage reduction. For some reason, I thought it was 15% damage reduction, but maybe it's less. And then she shields all allies for 16% of her max HP. Now, I don't know if she shields at the at the start of each turn like Flicker does. I'm hoping so, otherwise that's not as good. And she gives lightning units 12% defense ignore, which I think is quite impactful because defense penetration is quite powerful in this game, particularly in a PvE setting where they have more defenses. So this could be quite useful. Oh, and then the final line, she cannot be healed. And so this is actually a bad thing about her, and this makes it so a lot of players who are kind of discussing on the Anchor Panic Discord are saying that she might be a skip because she might go down pretty early in a fight. But who knows? So, final note, her survivability is very low now, but once the last lightning unit gets released in global, her survivability skyrockets. And the last lightning unit to be released on global is a lightning stun operator who will go in a later on in the timeline. But anyways, I digress. Okay, so moving onwards, we have the Grenache skin. So this is one of two new skins that are available for Grenache, who is a breaker fire operator who can provide lifesteal for neighboring allies. And Lang Jiao, her skin, her holiday skin was announced yesterday or the day before yesterday. So this is her holiday skin. I'm sorry, quite nice. All right. So if this is any glimpse into the future, I think players will be happy to see that we highly likely, if we're gonna follow along the same chronology as the CN server, we should be getting our ice healer Jade after the release of Elsida. Sorry, there's just so many names between the different translations. Let me pause the video for a moment to pull up her kit. One moment. Okay, I found it. So, Jade will be the best healer in this game according to several CN players, including 78K, who is basically our scholar in the Anchor Panic Discord. So, I'll give you a rough explanation. Jade, she is an ice element healer. Her skill and burst both provide team-wide healing, which is really good, thank the Lord, because the only other operator who can do that in global right now is Strain. And allies with ice attributes also receive a shield interesting. So, she's a universal hero who acts like Strain in the sense that she can heal via her skill and her energy burst. However, if she's on a dedicated ice team, say like she's surrounded by, Langjiao, Ukali, Abyssal, and later on down the road we will get an ice tank, which we'll show in a moment, in a couple minutes. Then you can have a dedicated ice team, and you have a dedicated healer who does even more, shields your ice operators. After activating her energy burst, if an ally dies, that ally is frozen instead and becomes invincible, effectively turning into a wall. They thaw at the end of the turn. This can trigger only once. However, if memory serves me right, yeah, okay, that's the next one. At Ascension 3, the frozen preservation effect can apply to 2 allies instead of 1. Now, in the translation it says at rank 3. I'm assuming it's Ascension 3, but maybe it's the rank 3 talent, which hasn't been released in global yet. You guys, if you look at the skill preview of every operator, you'll notice that there is a 3rd level to every talent that is not unlockable yet. So, I don't know, translation thing. With her exclusive sigil, she can activate her burst from the very first turn. Okay, so remember what we said before. The burst, if an ally dies, they go into a frozen state, are invincible, and they thaw at the end of the turn. So this is insane, guys. You basically, this is like Lilira, she has the ability to revive one ally once per game, and it has to be an ally. I presume that this would be her allies too, not herself. And she also grants buffs. In short, she's extremely strong, especially in PvP. If the opponent manages to use their burst first, it becomes very difficult to win. Yes, that does make sense. Yeah. And worthy of A6. Okay, so that's her. That's Jade for you. Someone to really look forward to. And she has some really nice skins, which we'll show you soon. So this is one of her 3 skins. I would say this is arguably... So this is her Chinese New Year skin. I think it's good, but the other 2 are better, in my opinion. Okay, and here is the first skin of Elsida, the lightning tank. Okay, so here's the next operator. So this is Alpine, the nature breaker. And nature currently only has 1 SSR in global, and that's our striker, Dwalin. And Alpine is going to be a good complement to start rounding out the roster. I do like that it's a breaker, because that means that you can run nature teams in PvE to break down the gauge. Okay, and then this is the skin of Alpine. I think it's alright. Lilira skin, we did get this as a promotional skin for global. Yeah, we already got this hero, right? So interestingly, in the CN version, they got this Alicia before they got Elsida. And then the skin we already got. Okay, so this is the first the second Jade skin, and I have on the bottom right here, I don't know if you can see it. Yes, okay, I'm not covering it. So in the initial release of the skin, she had stockings or shoes or slippers, if I recall correctly. But then in an update 2 months later, they provided an alternate version where she's not wearing shoes. So yeah, this skin is quite good. I like it a lot. And then here's the next. Okay, so now they're starting to release nature operators. So this one is a nature stun operator named Argo. I don't know anything about her, and I don't think we've really talked about her on the Discord server. And this is her skin. She's like a younger character. Now, this is the one, this next hero is one that a lot of us talk about on Discord, which we're really looking forward to. Let me adjust this a little bit. So this is Plenilune. Plenilune, she's going to be the first ice defender, and I think she will really round out the ice meta. I don't know anything about her. The CN players haven't talked about her on Discord, but she's looking really spicy. Yeah, I think a lot of people will summon her even if she heals the opponent. And then this is the Plenilune skin, very spicy skin. Okay, and then here's our uh, fire defender, Cardiac. So, two back-to-back defenders on the CN server. And mind you, by this time, a year has elapsed since the Ling skin that I showed you previously. Yeah. So you'll notice that the release schedule of the operators is a lot slower compared to global, because I think we've gone through what? I think this is the sixth new operator. So they're releasing a new operator every other month, which is very slow, right? We're getting a new operator every 2 to 3 weeks. I think right now we've slowed down to 3 weeks. So I do anticipate that at some point we will catch up with the CN server, which I'm very much looking forward to. I don't like being behind. And then this is Cardiac's Halloween skin, so very spicy. And then this is the Alpine skin. Alpine, if you recall correctly, was the Nature Breaker. And then, okay, so this is likely going to be a limited hero, and she's quite strong. Um, we did have a CN player briefly talk about her the other day. He didn't really tell us her kit, saying that we need something to look forward to, kind of teasing us a little bit. But he did mention that she is an ice buffer who will be Ukali's perfect partner, so, if you will. So this is basically Awakened Dawn. So, we have a regular Dawn currently on the global server. This is Awakened Dawn. And yeah, she's apparently very good. So, up until this point, they've gotten an ice healer who's very good, an ice defender, and now an ice support. So ice is really stacked at this point. And this is the Adanie skin. It's alright. I was kind of hoping that they would have more diversity with her skin, because we have several office versions, but I don't know, maybe people will like it. Okay, so here is finally, after more than a year, we have a fighting operator, a new one for the CN version. Um, and this is YunZhuan. She's a fighting defender. So now fighting has a defender. So this is great news for you Rose enjoyers, right? Because currently Rose is being splashed in a lot of endgame PvP comps as well as PvE comps. Maybe people will run a Yen, but that's most people will go max 2 fighting types. And now we have a fighting defender, so this will allow Rose to have even more deadly potential, enabling the fighting homology, which has additional benefits for fighting, running fighting types. And then here is her skin. It's a Chinese New Year skin. Note the animated version has her holding a red envelope between her feet. So if you go to the Bilibili website, she has a really nice animation for it. I like this skin a lot. Okay, and then here is our Abyss Alicia skin, a new one. So this is her Chinese New Year skin. It looks really good, guys. It looks really good. Um, and then here is the turn skin that we got quite a bit earlier. Very spicy one. Okay, so this hero. I did notice her in really high rankings in a lot of the CN tier lists. Morpho. She is a lightning stun operator who the CN player alluded to was the perfect partner. I'm assuming it's her because she's really high ranked um, in CN tier lists. And she is apparently the one who's going to improve the survivability of Elsida. So but note that she wasn't released until February of this year in the CN version, so I don't anticipate that we will get her until at least half a year from now. Yeah, but very good operator here, Morpho. And here's a Link skin that we currently have in Global. Okay, here's a very spicy Adanie skin. So this is the Awakened Dawn, if you will. And then here is a Cardiac skin. Very spicy. She's the Fire Defender. Very spicy Morpho skin. This is the latest Lightning Stun Operator. Okay, and then finally Momiji. So Momiji is... let me see if I can dig up anything on her because I don't know if she's a limited character, but she does get a lot of love in the CN version. The CN server does have a lot of skins for her, and she is supposedly the fire equivalent of Ukali, because she's a fire striker. And I would presume if that's what the CN player said, then she does follow up attacks as well. Now the problem with fire in general is that it has a wide roster in the global version, but the problem is we have too many fire strikers in the fire element and they're quite mediocre. So having another fire striker is a good or bad thing. It's good because all the current fire strikers in global are quite mediocre. But the problem is, I do think fire needs a whole lot more than a better fire striker in order to make fire viable. I mean, I think our saving grace is that Grenache is decent, providing lifesteal for neighboring party members, and then the fire defender Quasar that we got released. Although Quasar is kind of mid at A0. I'm using her now in Arena, the special 3-party arena, but that's because there's no other defender to use right now. Yeah, but anyways, I digress. And then this is another Morpho skin. Morpho gets a lot of love here too. I like this skin a lot. It's quite good. Here is a second Ukali skin. There will be a third one being released later on, but this is the other one. It's alright. It's, I think, in my opinion, a little too similar to the one we have now, but this is the Chinese New Year one. Okay, now we're talking. So Fire gets their first stun operator, Kovneil. I don't know if she's any good. Maybe in another video we'll go over the CN tier lists. But for now, yeah, Fire Stun Operator will take her. Okay, so here is another Plenilune skin. If you guys recall correctly, Plenilune is the Ice Defender, the really hot one. And here is Kovneil's alternate art for the same skin. It's a more dynamic one. And then here is Momiji's skin. So she is the Fire Striker. And here's Momiji's really spicy skin. This is the one that a lot of people, take an extra look or two or three. It's a very nice. I would say that, yeah, Anchor Panic skins are goated. And here's another turn skin. I don't think the skin is as nice as some of the others that we already have. Because, mind you, we already have 2 turn skins. But it's nice if you want a different one, doesn't hurt. And here is Momiji's interactive skin. So I was thinking that she was a limited character, and then a CN player asked, or someone asked me, is she? And I kind of assumed so because Abyss Alicia is a limited hero, and she has an interactive skin that you have to purchase. And so this is our second animated skin, Momiji. And here is the 2D art, which I very much like. Okay, so nature gets another, or nature gets their first support. So I think by mid June, or mid 2025, I mean, nature is really starting to get the heroes, and they're not getting any redundancies. They're basically getting a new class every time. I think by this time, the game has been out for 2 years or almost 2 years, and I'm sure that at this point they've had 2 years of feedback from the CN community saying, hey, we're kind of getting a bit of redundancy. Certainly, if I was a CN player, I'd be kind of frustrated at this point that certain elements are being neglected. So this is good. Hearkenwind does have some pretty nice skins too. I don't know what she does, but we'll talk about her in a future video. Here is a Leng Jiao skin. I think probably one of my favorites. This is around the time that they start releasing some really spicy summer skins. So if you guys want to get a skin in the future but want to hold off for now, I think this is one that's worth holding off for. Although I do think the holiday skin of Leng Jiao is quite good. Here is, oh my god, spicy. So this is the Elsida skin, the Lightning Defender. One of my favorite skins of hers as well. Oh, this is a Hearkenwind skin. So this is our latest and greatest nature support. Holy smokes. And we have a Kovneil skin. She's our fire stun operator. Some very spicy skins to look forward to. And then here is our next, as if Quantum didn't need any more units, they release another Quantum Breaker, because why not, We already have 2 Quantum Breakers, let's introduce a third. So this is Zephyrine. I don't know too much about her, but yeah, she's another Quantum Breaker. Okay, here's our second Grenache skin, which I really like. This is my more favorite version of this. And then we have Hearkenwind skin, which I think is pretty good, following the bunny theme here. And then we have the YunZhuan skin. So this is our fighting defend, or our physical defender. I'm sorry. Yeah, so she finally gets a first or second skin. I kind of forget at the moment. Here's our Zephyrine skin. Holy smokes! Now I had to dig around for this because the in the announcements originally it was censored with clouds, but I did dig around in one trail, or not a trailer, but in a future update they forgot to censor it, so obviously I snapped that one for this. Okay, and notice here, so Abyss Alicia, the wedding skin, was released much later for CN, and we got it right with our Abyss Alicia's release. So I kind of like this because anything's on the table, right? Anything that has been released in CN, barring a story character, could potentially be released far sooner for us. We might not need to wait as long for as global for some of the future skins or even future heroes. And we already know about the alternate skins. Okay, so Ice finally gets their first. Actually, this is technically their second striker. The first one was Abyssal, but I don't know too much about Gleam, but I do like her concept, which is she's a photographer, or maybe she's a movie star, one of those. I like her character design very much. Yeah, I don't know too much about her. I'll dig in for a future video. Argo, this is our nature stun operator. She gets a lot of skins for some reason. And then Plenilune, who is our ice defender, gets another skin. This was a very interesting take on her skin. And this is Gleam's skin, holy smokes. So this is our latest icebreaker operator, and she gets a really spicy prison skin. Okay, now we were talking about White Rose the other day. So she is basically, remember how Adanie earlier, she's like the awakened dawn. So this is the awakened Rose. So Rose is currently our premium physical breaker, right? Who is able to do a ton of follow-up attacks with her ammo. So she gets an awakened version, and she becomes a quantum stun operator, which is actually our first quantum stun operator, and apparently she's really broken. Although the CN players, they didn't really tell me why, so I'll need to do a little digging on this. Now this is one of my, this is probably, yeah, one of my, this is my favorite Jade skin for obvious reasons. This is really nice. My favorite color is green and I like nature, and I thought this was a really cool take on her skin. Yeah, so I'll probably be saving for, I'll be getting this skin for sure for her. And then this is Momiji's summer skin, very spicy. And then this is Lyra's skin. I had to do a little digging because the way they promoted this skin was really weird. They didn't actually outwardly state who this hero was by the promotion banner, but after watching the trailer, I did find out that this is Lyra's skin. So Lyra, she gets a lot of love here. And then this is White Rose's skin. Pretty nice. All right, and then let me see here. Okay, this was kind of just a preview of Abyss Alicia. Oh, okay. So tomorrow, December 10th, we will finally get our nature healer on the CN version. So this is quite noteworthy because actually a week prior to this, I mentioned in the suggestions tab of the Anchor Panic Discord that we don't have enough healers, because I had done this research 3 weeks prior and I was very concerned because I noticed that the CN server hadn't gotten a new healer in 2 years, and I was a bit mad when I posted this suggestion because we had some people commenting in my suggestions that we don't need more healers, which is like, that's the fastest way to brick this game. I got pretty mad. I'm not going to name those people, but you know who you are. But thankfully, yeah, they heard our call. I don't know if they actually heard me, but this is good that they did this. So this is going to be Lyrewood, who is our nature healer. So yes, nature has been getting a lot of love this past year. With the release of Lyrewood tomorrow, they pretty much have the whole suite of operators they need. And this, I think, is what Anchor Panic needs to do in order to keep the game alive. They need to have options, and at minimum, they need basically a copy of every class for every element. They need to do that at a minimum. So fighting healers, fire healers, that sort of thing, we need that. And I get the feeling that they're going to do that for the upcoming 6 months. Yeah, so I did make a note here that this is the first healer released in the CN version since November 2023, which is when Jade, the Ice Healer, was released. Yes, it has been exactly 2 years. Yes, and then this is Ukali's skin. Very nice skin here. Yeah, and they followed, so they released 4 Halloween skins where they are very thick, if you know what I mean. Holy smokes. So this is Carnissa's skin. I don't know how I feel about this. Yeah, I think they can make better Carnissa skins, but yeah, it is what it is. This one's a really spicy one. So it was actually very difficult for me to find the uncensored version. Actually, in the CN version, it's censored, but in the JP announcements, it's uncensored. So I got this from JP because we gotta see the details here. Yeah, but this is Cardiac's pink baking skin. They're really pushing the envelope when it comes to, yeah, they're I don't know what else to say. Holy smokes. Oh, and then this is, I really like this skin, guys. This is a very nice skin. Let me see if I can move it up a little bit because we're at the end of the thread. Yeah, so this is Lyrewood's first skin, and I think it's very nice. Actually, if you watch the trailer, I recommend checking out Billy. Look at the trailer of this. It's a sweet skin. I definitely look forward to getting it. So anyways, 34 minutes, I think that's pretty good summary of what we can expect for the future, and I'll see if I can get access to the JP server or the CN server of Anchor Panic, and maybe do a deeper dive for future characters if you guys are interested. So if you like content like this, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.